with them a little bit later, get to know them. And so we've gone through this presentation before. Last year, Rita and I were in Lumby at Silver Hills Spa there, and it was a fantastic presentation. Really tools and skills of how to really connect. And it's really more than just for husbands and wives. It's just how to understand each other. I found it to be really a real blessing, how to just understand the heart of what someone's really trying to say. You've heard it before, people say, it's not what I said, it's how you said it. You've heard that before. Or, you know, I could tell that you're trying to say more than what you actually said. You probably heard that. And so you'll be able to learn some tips this week. I believe that will move the needle significantly. So before we get started, though, I just want to stop and have a prayer as we begin our prescription for love. Let's bow our heads. Father in heaven, I want to thank you so much for being with us tonight and for bringing everyone here safely. We know it's no accident, no coincidence, but you have a divine plan for each one of us, Father. I pray tonight as we learn how to communicate and how to listen, so that we can not listen just to listen, but listen to understand and to connect. I pray that your Spirit will be with us. Thank you so much for, again, your love. In Christ's name, amen.
Thank you, Maurice.
Yeah, thank you, Maurice, and thank you for having us. It's so nice to be here, and you have lovely weather here with the sunshine. I believe it hasn't been like that, but it is sunny over here, so yeah.
Yeah, compared to where we were, it was snowing this morning. So that's just a little bit of information there telling you basically that this is from It Is Written Canada, and at the end, tomorrow afternoon, there's a quick survey that is in your form, so I can tell you where we're going, so you can kind of keep in your mind, I like that, I would like to make some changes here, or whatever, and then we get your feedback, and that will help us. And you can hit the QR code if you want to do it online, it's easy as well. So tonight, starting here in Chilliwack, and we're going to start off with this question, and why are you here? Why are you here? Would you like to take a look at the person next to you, look in their eyes, and ask them that question? Why are you here? And there's no one saying, you don't have to look in their eyes. But if they're not sitting next to you, in a group, you can turn around and you can form a group of more than one and two. Okay.
And you can't say because you were drug here.
Yeah. Okay, so any interesting answers? It's a good thing to assess why you're here, okay? And what do you want to learn from what's going to happen here? So you can walk away with 4 valuable treasures after this series. The first one is information. Is information good? It's very good. I think it's a good starting point. The second, hopefully, is inspiration. And that will motivate you to do this one, application. Is that important? Of all of them on there, I think that's probably the most important so far. And then the last one is transformation. And when we think of transformation, what do you think of? What picture do you have in your mind when you think of transformation?
My husband.
Your husband. Do you think of a caterpillar turning into a butterfly? Yeah? It's metamorphosis. Or a tadpole turning into a frog. I guess that's not all that wonderful. But a caterpillar turning into a butterfly, I think that's really interesting, you know, how it's completely transformed. It's a little thing that cannot fly, turning into something that can fly, crawling into a little sleeping bag, right? And turning into mush, and then it comes out and it can fly. That's incredible. Think about the transformation. You have to turn into mush first before you can fly. And otherwise, you just crawl on your belly for the rest of your life. So we want to go through those stages. So hopefully we can help you to take away all those treasures.
So this weekend, we're going to be talking about the masters versus the disasters. So in your relationships, you can either be a master or you can be a disaster. Do you think a master means you're perfect? No, it doesn't. And we're going to talk about this in more detail, but
And you're going to learn over the weekend that Mike and Renee are the masters, and Marlon and Dream were the disasters. So,
But not anymore, though.
no,
No.
disasters
Not
turn masters. Yes. Yes.
So we want you to turn to each other or turn in a group if you can form a group. And what are the qualities of a relationship master and what are the qualities of a relationship disaster?
Well, the disaster will really be opposite to the master, right? So if you get into little groups of 4 or even 6, you can just discuss amongst each other, what do you think relationship masters are
Okay,
in
Right.
your eyes? Yeah.
go ahead. When I see things like that, that's a heart wound. That's a really. Okay. So lots of discussion here. We're going to get some feedback from you.
all right, who'd like to share? Chilliwack Church is not a shy church, right? We're all friends here. All right, who'd like to share? Are you going to start? Maurice is, oh, he's got his hand up. Here, he's going to be the first to share. Jennifer's going to share.
Go ahead, Jennifer.
I said as far as being a master, someone who can agree to disagree so that you don't always have to be right and someone
Okay.
has to be wrong.
Okay.
That was one of my things. I might have had another one, but I already forgot it.
No, I think that was powerful. I thought that I resonated with that one because, you know, there's a principle. Yeah, I really resonated with that one because, you know, I did a sermon once here in regards to the fact that even though God is always right, and we know that ultimately, he rathers relationship than proving that he's right, because he knows that eventually the truth will come out. So he doesn't have to make a point to prove he's right. But because he knows that relationship is so crucial, he's willing to continue in that relationship. So I really appreciated that thought.
Yeah, my wife always tells me you can be right or you can be happy. You have a choice. Anybody else?
Yeah, when I look at that, when I look at the way how I was brought up, it really affects your, like when I was brought up, like I never seen my mom and dad kiss or hold hands, nothing. So that was that to me that was normal.
Yeah.
But when I came here, I realized that it was abnormal. So,
Yeah.
So what you're saying is marriage masters kiss and hug.
no, what I'm saying, it is modeled to them at a younger age. It is something that is modeled to you.
Something that models you.
You always follow your model. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good to model affection, right?
I would say qualities of relationship master is based all on communication. Communication is the huge one that is, we can get messed up in a communicating things that can become a disaster. And it can also communicate well that can make us become relationship masters. And all based on communication, how we relay information to one another.
As far as communication goes, so this is my husband, and he's raised seeing no affection. I grew up with all girls, and my mom had a friend that used to say when one of us bled, or when one of us was hurt, our whole family bled. So we were just so close. So if we're having a disagreement, and I'm like, oh, now he's hurt. He's like, so communication needs to be explained, not just say make better communication, because I am communicating, so is he, but not to each other. Yeah.
Very good.
That's a good point, Valerie. Thank you.
That's huge.
So communication was like number one for us under what it is to be a master. And under that, we had a couple of points, right? And we were talking about the way that we communicate, your tone of voice, that will lead to the type of interpretation, right? What you say may be misinterpreted by your tone of voice, your facial, the way you, so communication itself can be broken down into different things, right? When you communicate and you hear the point that your partner is saying, validating those points, allowing them to feel like they're heard and they're understood. This is another point under communication that's important. We also went on, you don't mind if I share a little more? Okay, so we also talked about masters of relationship, they have some intimacy, which is connected to communication. Without communication, you can't have intimacy. So you have to be thoughtful, and you have to also feel like you're understood. That connection is what breeds intimacy, feeling understood. We also talked about emulating Jesus in the relationship. And a key point that came out there was first having a relationship with Christ in order to then reflect what he's done in your life to others, especially to your spouse. And then that's pretty much where we got to.
I think that sums it up. We can go home now.
Yeah.
That's
I was just
awesome.
gonna
No,
say,
that's very
okay,
good.
you guys want to come sit over here? It's time to go home.
Anybody else here? Anything to add?
When you talk about communication, lots of times I find, particularly nowadays with these things, when you're talking to a family or a spouse, it seems like you're talking and this takes priority. Instead of, I was raised that if you're talking one-to-one to a person, that's your concentration level. This thing rings, it can wait. And I was raised like that, and my dad would deliberately, in the old days, take the receiver off the phone when we had supper, so that phone wasn't going to interfere with our conversation. And supper time was a case of asking every person how your day was, what your problems for the day, what were your solutions for the day. That was the discussion every time for supper. And but nowadays, I just find that even with our own family, this becomes a predominant thing. And when they come over, the same thing. You know, you feel like locking these things up in a room for the first couple hours, but yeah, it's hurting the communication side a lot.
Yes, communication very important, openly, and no hiding, of course, everything clear. And also, contact eyes is the best thing, respectful, and listening more, that kind of adding, and nice word.
Wow, that's Chilliwack Church. I think I don't think they have any relationship problems here. We can go home. That's awesome. Some very good feedback. Excellent. I think that really sums up masters and disasters.
Very good. So research on this has been done, and these two terms, masters and disasters, came from, or they're coined by John Gottman. So John Gottman has what's called a Love Lab in Seattle, Washington, where they study couples interacting with each other. And on the basis of those interactions with thousands of different couples, he came up with these two terms. And then he also came up with the differences, and he said you could state it in one sentence. The relationship masters look for things to appreciate, and the disasters focus on fixing what's wrong. Pretty big, isn't it? And when you start understanding this, it's so key. So we were coaching a couple 2 nights ago, and we were listening to them, and it's like, you said, no, you said, no, you said, no, you said, and it was going back and forth. So when we were listening to their problems, started realizing they were both disasters, because they were both trying to fix each other. They were both trying to fix each other. You did this, you did that, da 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 da, right? That's it. And it was the song that never ends. And they're a young couple. So sitting down, wonderful people, lovely people. They should be married. They can have a wonderful relationship. But their whole focus was, if we can just fix this, we're going to be happy. Nah. Their whole focus was on fixing what's wrong. Right? Will you ever get to the end of fixing what's wrong? Oh, let's try. It doesn't work. Because what happens when you try to fix what's wrong all the time?
What you focus on grows. So if I'm focusing on fixing my husband, what the negativity that I focus on is just going to grow, isn't it?
Yeah. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I heard communication, 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 communication. So how do masters communicate differently than disasters? What are we communicating? So we're communicating. So if we learn how to communicate, and I went to school, took alternate dispute resolution, I learned how to communicate, but I wasn't communicating what I appreciated. I was communicating what was wrong with my wife, or what she needed to change, or what I wasn't appreciating her, my words of communication, right? So what did we communicate? You know, a lot of the couples are in our relationship, we would communicate, but we always were talking about the problems. We were never talking about, hey, honey, I really appreciate that the meal you made tonight. Man, I just love those little bows you made, the bow ties. They were so cute and they tasted so yummy. Thank you so much. They just so we're not appreciating. We're just, oh man, that tasted too spicy. Or that was too. We're just focusing on what's wrong, or what we're not appreciating, or thankfulness, or we don't have an attitude of gratitude. So how do we communicate, right? So that's a big way. These things you can see how we communicate. We're either being masters or disasters.
So is Jesus a master? Yes. So what does he see in you? All the things he wants to fix? Or does he see the things that he appreciates about you? Yeah?
But sometimes we become the disasters in that relationship because we don't feel like we're good enough. And we want to be better because we need to do our devotions, we need to do this, we need to do that, we need to pray this way. So in that relationship, we become the disasters because we're not good enough.
That's a
right?
great
And we're
point.
always trying to fix and make ourselves better and do things better.
Well, you don't need a savior then.
Exactly, yeah.
You just save yourself.
But
How
God
does that
is
work?
the master. When you're a master, you look for things to appreciate, but you also look for the best in others.
Yeah.
Jesus looks for the best in us because when you look for the best in someone else, you're going to bring out the best in them. And so,
And you do that for yourself too, right? Looking at what's going good and right in myself.
yes, Doreen,
Yes.
we need to do that. So we need to be masters too when it comes to our relationship with Jesus.
We just did a 1 week in paradise program, my wife and I, up in Camp Frenda. And this is really the biggest issue is how do you see yourself, right? Every morning, taking baby steps. Now, what happens with babies? Are they good at walking? They do a lot of falling, don't they? But we look at them and we say, oh, I can't believe you. You just keep falling. Or do we say, wonderful, you keep getting up, right? What do we celebrate? When they walk, not the falling. Why are we so hard on ourselves? And who is hard on us? Whose voice are we listening to? Right? And so I just want to encourage you. That voice, and I know that when you're tired and when you're feeling down and discouraged, you tend to go in the negative direction. But that's not you. Right? That's you when you're tired. That's you when you're sick. That's you when you're hungry. That's you when you're feeling lonely, right? When you're feeling down. So Jesus looks at you and he says, you're my child. I love you and I'm pleased with you. And that's a wonderful thing. So he looks for the best in us. And so when you hear that voice in your head that says whatever negative thought you have going around in your head, just say, is it true? Is this something, am I telling myself the truth or am I believing a lie? And who is putting that thought in my voice, in my head? Sometimes we get so used to it. And there's wounds in our hearts that need to be healed. And that's what we try to listen to, is we try to listen to the wounds. Because the wounds are there and they need to be healed. And that's what we're there for in the relationship. And that's what Jesus is there for, to be masters, to look for things to appreciate. Okay. So one word characterizes the masters. What do you think it is? Appreciate. Yes, I like that word. Another one? Admire. I like that. Loving. Yes, I like it. Protector. Yeah. Yes, I like it. Yeah, it's really good. These are really good words. Here's the word that Gottman came up with. Gentleness. Gentleness. The masters are gentle. That's the word. They are gentle. Gentle with themselves, gentle with each other. That's not an easy thing to be, is it? So here's the difference. You all have conflict, and so the conflict with the masters is like a soccer ball, and you gently kick it back and forth. With the disasters, their partner is the soccer ball, and they're always kicking them really hard. Okay? So gentleness. Looking at the problem as the problem and not the other person as the problem. So this is what Ellen White says. She says, we want a spirit of gentleness. We cannot live right in the family circle without it. It's like air. We need gentleness. So if that's the truth, then what is the one word that characterizes the disasters? What's the opposite of gentleness? Aggressive, yes. Okay, another one? Anger, yeah. That's the word that he came up with. It was harshness. Harsh. So the Bible says a soft answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger. Isn't it true? Okay. How do you feel when someone sees the best in you? It just brings out the best in you. When someone's gentle with you, it's so lovely to feel that. But when they speak harshly to you, it's hard to even get over that. Like, someone speaking harsh to me? Like, that's pretty, that can cause some core wounds.
The quote goes on, it says, in order to have the proper control of our children, we must manifest a spirit of gentleness. We do not want to have a fault-finding spirit. If we teach them to have a spirit of gentleness, we must have a spirit of gentleness ourselves.
So does that help you with your prayer life? Pray for gentleness. It's one of the fruits of the Spirit, okay? Fault-finding, see that word fault-finding? That's what the disasters do, right? They're just looking at the mistakes, looking at what's wrong. Okay, so we're going to do a little acting here, okay? A little role play.
Scenario of a harsh startup in a family. Why can't you ever listen to me? I've told you a million times to clean up your toys, but you just ignore me. I am so tired of this.
Mom, we're just going to clean it up. We're just in a few more minutes.
Yeah, right. You always say that, and you never do it. Do you realize that? You never do it. I don't have time to keep cleaning up after you two. Was that gentleness? No. Harshness? What did you see in there? Why is it harsh? Pointing out what they're doing wrong? Tone of voice? Questioning?
The word why.
Yeah, the word why. Why can only be used with gentleness. Have you ever noticed it?
Yes. I know, she always exaggerates.
Always.
Thanks, I'm glad you caught that, my friend. Thanks for pointing that out.
Okay, I have a question for you. Is this something that happens on a regular basis, or is it just maybe once or twice that this scenario is happening? Do you think this is a perpetual problem? Yes. It's not just once off, right? This is a perpetual problem, and so it's really hard to be gentle when there's a perpetual problem. And it's happening on a regular basis. Does that make sense?
And what happens to the children when we talk that way? What do? They resist. they become defensive, or maybe they shut down. Yeah, so we go onto the defensive or shut down. That's the two things from criticism.
Relationship science has actually discovered that parent-child conflict, within that realm of parent-child conflict, guess what percent of conflict is the parent's fault? Somebody said all. 86% of parent-child conflict is led by the parent. So do we have parental agendas for our children, how they should clean up, when, and, exactly, if you don't do it mom's way, then it's wrong? Yeah. So 86% of the time, we as parents cause the conflict with our
Does
children.
that apply to wives too, that percent? Or is that just for
Yes, in our relationship it did.
So tell me some words that mom is using here that are, and then describe those. What is she using? What's that? Remember? Okay. What words is she using here, though, that are harsh? Yes, go ahead, sir. Yes. So ever, what else is she using? Always. Very good. Never. Okay. And so and notice the scoffing. Yeah, right. Okay. How does that make you feel when people scoff? Scoff, it's a form of contempt. That's right. So the pointing of the finger at you. Yeah. So the you. Yeah?
Did you notice what I did with my eyes? Eye rolling?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a sign of contempt.
Yeah, we were in a meeting just a couple of days ago, and one of the ladies rolled their eyes at this guy after he said something. And he stopped and he was like, "Did you see what she just did?" What did I do? You rolled your eyes. Because you're so, yeah. So you always, you never, you can't ever listen, right? Keep those kinds of things. Okay. So if we redo that, would you be able to demonstrate it differently? So here's a kind of a formula that we use for a gentle startup.
So for that gentle, soft startup, it is starting out with an appreciation. Is that what marriage or relationship masters do? Yeah, an appreciation. And then I feel, and then you're expressing about what you're feeling about rather than talking about the person. So you're talking about the event, not the person. And then the part we usually always don't go to is I need. Can you imagine if we shared what our needs are? We wouldn't have to guess in relationships, would we? If we're truly hearing, and then we can act on it next time.
You know what? I never know what my wife wants. Have you heard that? Or I never know what my husband wants. We don't know what they want, right?
What my child wants, my friend wants.
So a lot of times we don't use a gentle startup, so people stop expressing what they want because they get shut down. Well, I've told them before, but they never listen. So sometimes we need to speak in a way to be heard, and we need to listen in order to understand, right? So the way we speak, our tone, our expressions, our body language, the way we say something, that harshness, we're communicating, but we're communicating in a way that the other person will become defensive or shut down. So tonight, it's about using this miracle formula that actually we can present what we need in a gentle way that the person can hear you, rather than getting frustrated. Well, they never listen, so I'm not even going to tell them what I need anymore. And then we just become two people living in the same home. We're not hearing each other.
Notice the word I instead of you, right? So this is how I feel. And when you own your own feelings, you can do that. And you can state how you feel, but you don't say, you make me feel, right? Does anyone make you feel anything? No one makes you feel anything. You decide your feelings. All right, do you agree with me, or am I making this up? Can you decide your feelings? Yeah? Can you own your own feelings? Can you say, I choose my feelings in this situation? Because you do. No one can make you feel a certain way. They can do some things that you react in a way that makes you feel that way, but that's your reaction, okay? So it's I appreciate, I feel about what, and I need, okay? So let's change that around. Let's do it better.
Should we do a redo with a gentle startup?
Yes, Mommy.
You know, I love the way you play so creatively.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, and hey, I see your toys are still out, and I really need
yeah.
help cleaning them up.
Okay.
Now, how about we pick them up together so we can keep the room nice and clean and safe so nobody trips over the toys? Can we start with your blocks first?
Sure, Mommy. Okay, let's start with the blocks first. You're going to help me?
Yeah.
Really? Oh, that'd be so
Yeah.
nice. Thank you, Mom.
Was that a little more gentle? What do kids need the most? Togetherness. Gentleness and togetherness. Yeah. So that's, yes. Yes. So then you would just suggest, let's start with your blocks. So you're leading.
If they say no, okay, what would you like to start with? Then that's when you get a spanking. No.
So then a gentle suggestion. Yeah. So lead with a suggestion of how you can start. Yeah.
So what I've found is that when a child is being naughty, okay, and they're not listening, and they're being defiant, they need closeness and they need understanding. And they might need a nap, okay? They might be tired or they might be hungry. But they're dysregulated somehow. So instead of me becoming harsh back because they're just dysregulated, I'm gentle and trying to listen and come down to their level and hold them, right? Get close. It works. It just does. You don't feel like it because you probably feel tired too. And you're just like, this kid, right? But listening, it doesn't matter what age they are. It doesn't matter how old or how young they are. But gentleness is way better than harshness. But sometimes we just feel mad. And we just want to be mad and we just want to be hard, right? That's just the way it is. You just want it fixed right like that. But usually you're just going to create far more problems by being mad. And take a breath, go out of the room, come back, and pray and say, Jesus, give me gentleness in this situation. And they need love. There's a wound there. And when that's being expressed, yeah.
That's so true.
Yeah.
And there's, in our coaching practice, there's this lady, a single mom that I'm working with right now. And she has a 10-year-old daughter who's become very, I guess you could say, angry and just uncooperative. And so we've been working together to make a change in her daughter's life. And the one thing that was missing was togetherness. So mom was exhausted, emotionally exhausted from being a single parent. So when she got home, where do you think she went? To her room. That was her place where she hung out the most. So her daughter, to find her, would have to come into her room. And she realized this is exactly what her mom did. So like you said, learned. We learn, these relationship styles or patterns or things that we do by growing up in this environment. And when she realized that she felt isolated and alone growing up, she now then realized that's exactly how her daughter was feeling. Her daughter needed togetherness, so she made her space out in the open area. And what do we do as parents? We conquer and divide. Johnny, you go do that. Jill, you do that, and I'm going to do this. We are all Lone Rangers doing our own things, trying to conquer and divide and get things done quickly. But that's not how kids work. They work with togetherness. So she started to say, okay, this is our routine. We're going to do this together. They brushed their teeth together. And her daughter was feeling like, this is weird, Mom. But she said, you know what? I like it. And then one night, her 10-year-old said, Mom, can you brush my teeth? And
Are you kidding
we
me?
had this conversation. I said, ask yourself, why not yes? Because do we say no a lot to our kids? So she said, why not yes? So she took the toothbrush and she brushed her 10-year-old girl's teeth. Her daughter was so loved by that action. When she tucked her into bed, she said, Mommy, I felt so loved by you today. Like just changing up these little things of togetherness. She has transformed her daughter's world by this concept of togetherness, gentleness, and creating a space where they are together, doing things together instead of you do this, I'll do that. It's transformational.
Chantal, I just want to come back to you. So, Mark and I are grandparents. We've got 2 grandsons. And of course, even though they're boys, they're completely different. So the one is going to be 4 soon, and the other one is a year and a half. And so one of them is very strong-willed. So like you said, what happens if they say, no, I don't want to do the blocks, or no, I don't want to clean up, right? And are persistent and strong-willed. It's very hard in that moment when you're exhausted. But like Doreen said, just pray for God to give you ways to be creative to create that togetherness. And if you say, let's start with the blocks first, no, I don't want to clean up the box. Well, do you want to clean that up? No, I don't want to. So then I've noticed with boys, God has given me a second chance because we raised girls and they're completely different to boys, right? To make it a game. Okay, let's see, you can pick up the most blocks. I bet that I can pick up more blocks than you. Are you ready? On your marks, get set, go. So boys need to be playful and need to be active. And so that has helped. But it takes a lot of, like Doreen said, a lot of taking a deep breath, and sometimes we need to remove ourselves for a little bit. Take a deep breath, or did you say that, right? I can't remember. But it does, we need to be creative, and we need to, intentionally have that togetherness. And in the moment, it's very difficult to be gentle when you are, like Mark said, when you're angry, when you're tired, when you're stressed, when you're sick. Yeah. So, I don't know, is that helpful? Like with it, having, because I think togetherness is the key. Kids really want our attention.
Yeah.
That's all they want. They want our attention and they want to be noticed. That's it.
How do kids spell love?
T-I-M-E. So we came home yesterday, and we're working, and we just took the kids by the hand and we played Ring a Rosie, Ring Around Rosie in the kitchen, and then we all fell down on the floor, and then the kids are like, let's do that again, and let's do that again, and then we played London Bridges Falling Down. We just kept doing that until, then they felt played with, they felt close to, and then we could move on to, getting ready for going to bed and all of the other stuff. Wendell, yeah, dear.
Yeah, I think that in this culture,
Yeah.
we don't have extended family.
Yes. Yes, yes. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. No, we do need extended families. I mean, our daughter, if she didn't have us, man, it would be hard on her. Yeah. Having grandparents around is really good. And having an extended family, as many as possible, you know. We got, yeah. It does, yeah. You need those values. I
But
agree.
you raised
Go
a
ahead.
good point, Wendell, because this is not easy. We're living in society today where we're living in a world of chronic busyness. Everyone is chronically busy, not just busy, but chronically busy, right? And to go, when we played Ring Around the Rosies and London Bridge is Falling Down, it wasn't in half an hour, right? It was just maybe 5-10 minutes. But like you said, they felt noticed, they felt there was togetherness, and that was all they needed.
I think older boys are the same as young boys. Yes, they are. You know, if there's a relationship and there's connection, do we feel like doing what the other person wants to do? So for example, my wife, this is 6 months ago, or last year sometime, the alarm went off and she made 6 demands before I was even awake. Can you go down, turn the heat up? It's cold in here. And when you're downstairs, can you bring up a glass of water? Oh yeah, then can you return the email to the lemons so that we can get that? And then you can, it's like, yeah, take the garbage out. That was last. And I just say, whoa, can you just come snuggle for 5 minutes? Can we just talk? Can we build a connection before you start, making demands? So sometimes we do that with our children, with our spouses. We make demands. And we forget, because of the busyness and the time of the world, we forget to take the time to play or to connect or to build the relationship. Because, when we're connected with each other or with our children, are we going to want to stir them out of love? Yeah, and I think we missed that so key, whether it's playing Ring Around the Rosie or any games playing these or making fun out of pulling the blocks, and just taking that time and not making it as demands, but building a relationship so that they'll naturally want to do what we ask.
So our new routine was waking up in the morning and snuggling for 5 minutes, and then I could make my request.
Yeah, we set the alarm clock 15 minutes early now so that we can just connect.
Then we had to set it for 30 minutes early because we were, the prayers get longer together and so on.
And is there a difference between demanding and asking? Yeah.
Okay. So, yes, we've seen this. A soft answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger. For out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. So what is that saying? It's saying that the abundance of the heart, so it's overflow. You pour the water in, comes out, water comes out. If you're pouring milk in, milk comes out. If you got something coming out, there's an abundance of it inside, right? So whatever's coming out of your mouth, if it's gentleness coming out, that's wonderful because there's a lot of more gentleness inside. But if there's harshness coming out, then there's a lot more harshness inside, right? And that's what bothers us, is like, oh, they're saying that on the outside. There must be a lot more inside, okay? And that is where we're careful, okay? So on the basis of a 15-minute conversation, these researchers, this is Gottman. We've got a book we're going to give to you, or at least we're going to give away to someone tonight. And this is by Gottman. It's 7 Principles for Making Marriage Work. So this is one of their findings. Researchers could predict with 91% accuracy whether a couple would be married or divorced within 10 years. That's amazing, because in the social sciences, this is almost unheard of, to be that accurate. Now, why the accuracy? Because they're looking at the interactions that are happening. What is happening? Is there harshness or is there gentleness? That's it, right? And how much gentleness? And when there is harshness, how do you deal with it, right? That's an important part of it as well. But 96% of the time, you can predict the outcome of conversation based on the first 3 minutes of these 15-minute interactions. So those first that first word that comes out of your mouth, the first way in which you interact is really, really critical.
It can be the first 10 seconds sometimes.
Oh, second, right? A harsh load of negatively powered words simply dooms you to failure. So what's happening is a conversation is happening that is reflective of something that's internal. So there's already a conversation happening in your head before that conversation happened, and it was sparking something. And so is it harsh and is it negatively powered, or is it gentle and it's positively powered? That's the direction. And to get out of a negative frame of mind is not an easy thing to do. It's just not. What happened during your day, what, the experiences that you've had even with the last time you interacted with this person, all of those things are going to shape that relationship. So a harsh startup.
So we're going to, both couples, both of us are going to just demonstrate harsh startups, and then we're going to do a redo, and we're going to do a gentle startup.
So you can do a redo.
Yeah, we can do a redo.
We can do redos.
Yeah.
This is your magic thing here. You can do a redo. You can say, I'm sorry, I really messed up. Let me try that again, okay?
We do redos almost every day.
Still today, yeah.
We all are human, and sometimes but the sooner you can catch yourself, and the sooner we can do the redo, the less time we allow that emotion to build, right?
Marriage masters, they don't just focus on the positivity.
No.
But the one thing about a marriage master is they're really good forgivers and really good repairers. So remember that to be a marriage master, you have to be able to be a good forgiver and a good repairer.
So the perpetual problem that we have in our household is that Mark likes taking 12 to 15-minute long showers.
Which is not long at all.
Okay,
reasonable
who
to me.
thinks that is long? Is there someone that's on my side? Okay, thank you. I have a few hands.
If it was 20 minutes, I think that's long. I think 12 is reasonable, Mike.
I've seen people in the washroom, in the shower with the shower going for a few hours. So I think I'm really short.
Okay. So here's my harsh startup. Remember those first 3 minutes of a 15-minute conversation, and Doreen said those first 10 seconds, right?
3 seconds.
I mean,
10 seconds. Yeah, that's right. She said 10
First 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Michael,
Yes.
why do you always have to shower for so long?
I love taking.
You use
it's
up
not that
all the
long.
hot water.
All the hot water?
Then I don't have hot water. And besides that, sometimes you shower so long, we're always late for everything.
Wow.
You're so selfish. You only think about yourself. What's wrong with you? Okay. So what was harsh about that? You tell me.
Yes.
Yes, Pastor. My tone of voice is big, right? Tone of voice and my body language, right? So.
Yes. You got that one?
That's true, Valerie.
That's an indication I'm in trouble. Yeah. Yes.
Yes. I told him he was selfish, so I attacked his character, and then asked him the famous question, what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
Right? Are we going to answer that? Oh, I'll tell you what's wrong with me. So I was really spitting nails
Yeah.
at him, very critical, very contemptuous.
Okay.
Right? Also use the words, you always, you never. Never think about anyone else but yourself, right?
So think in terms of this stop, right? Stop. So what's this thing you guys always say when you have thoughts? You have 10 seconds to change your thoughts.
Yes, so what's the Bible principle? The Bible talks about bringing every thought into captivity to Christ who strengthens us. So when we have that first thought, so the cognitive behavior triangle, think, feel, act. So those thoughts will lead to feelings, which will lead to our behaviors or actions, right? So first thing, as soon as that thought comes in, we got to catch it, right? And then we got to check it, and then we got to challenge it and then change it if it's not true or if it's not helpful in
So
any way.
the 3 C's.
Yeah, the
Catch,
threes.
check, change.
Yeah, we can do that, and we have 10 seconds. We can just take that 10 seconds to pause and to really challenge those thoughts. You know, because Mike mentioned earlier, he's referring to a really awesome book, Telling Yourself the Truth by William Backus. And when we're programmed from childhood up to wherever we are today, are there some misbeliefs, maybe things that we've believed about ourselves and about the world, about God, about each other, that maybe aren't always fully true? Maybe half lies, half truth? So when we believe, like Renee was talking about, I don't feel good enough, or I'm not smart enough, or I'm not adequate, or I can't do this right, or we have all these negative core beliefs that are driving that software in the background that's playing over and over and over and over. So our thoughts, those ants that we have in our head, those automatic negative thoughts, that's the first thing we think because it's based on our programming. So what do we have to do? We have to catch the thought, check it. Okay, is this helpful? Is it true? What does the Bible say? What is the real truth? Am I believing a lie? And then I can challenge it. And then if it's not true, if it's not helpful, then I change it. So you got to catch it, check it, and change it in that order.
How many times in a minute can we check our thoughts? What do you think? Neuroscience has studied this.
How long would it take to make that process? Catch the thought, check the thought, and change the thought. 30 seconds?
Yeah, you're getting close.
Yeah.
So every 10 seconds, they've discovered thoughts change in our mind. So that's 6 times in 1 minute. So we have the ability to catch our thoughts, check them, and change them 6 times in 1 minute. That's pretty amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What happens if we don't catch the thought?
We're not aware. We're just not aware.
It's just that cycle is going to happen. That thought or
Yeah.
whatever, that automatic negative thought or whatever it is,
Yeah.
that circumstance is going to, based on my history, is going to cause me to feel a certain way.
Yeah.
And those feelings are going to cause me to speak harshly,
Yeah,
speak in
and
it,
behave.
or it's going to cause me to do an action that I may regret.
Yeah.
Because we react instead of responding.
Yeah. And we just follow a habit pattern.
Yeah.
This is the way we talk all the time. This is the way we do things. This is just me, right? And you're not going to change. So if my wife is feeling upset with me because I'm taking a long shower and she's getting a cold shower or whatever, or we're late, for her to feel I appreciate, that's an act of God, right? Like you need divine help to say I appreciate anything in those circumstances. So, but when you hear someone saying these types of things, you realize this person really is not just acting out of impulse, but they're really being careful. And you appreciate that. I mean, everyone appreciates being appreciated. And so I feel they're owning it. She's owning her feelings about this situation, and then I need. Okay.
And by appreciating, what is she actually doing? She's changing her mindset.
Uh-huh.
She's changing her thoughts from fault finding, what he's doing wrong and how to fix him, to what do I really appreciate? You know what? He's a really good, Anyways, we'll let you do the redo.
Okay. Gentle startup. I like this part.
He's like, gentle startup, Renee, gentle startup.
So, love,
Yes.
I really appreciate how cleanliness is very important to
It
you.
is. It's very important.
And that aftershave that you use, it
You know.
smells really good.
I think it's essential oils.
Okay. Okay, your essential oil. But I feel really frustrated when I have a cold shower
Oh, that's not nice.
or when we're late. And so I'm wondering if it may be possible for me to shower first, or maybe if you can just shorten your showers a little bit.
I think it's better if you shower first.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Excellent. So is that different? Very different. I mean, I can listen to how she's feeling, and she's not attacking me, and I'm not getting defensive, right? Because she's owning her feelings. This is not easy to do. So we can model this up here, but it's not easy at all. Okay. So when we talk about, hey, let's try that again, we're talking about a repair attempt. Let's repair what I just messed up. And we mess up all the time. We just do. Okay? there are certain things I mess up on. Like, for example, we fly a lot. And so we're going from one place to another, and Renee wants up in the morning, get the suitcase packed, get to the airport on time, and we do it pretty much. But sometimes when I get to the airport, I want to go off and get something, and she's like, "We need to be at the gate now," right? And
No. Okay. We at the gates. We at the gates, and people have started boarding. Then
Yeah.
he's like, "Love, I'm just gonna go down there just to get something to eat before we get on the plane, so I can have something on the plane." People are boarding. No, I won't be long. I'll be quick, like less than 5 minutes. And if it takes longer than 5 minutes, then I'll stop. I'll come back without the food.
Mike Lemon, come to the boarding gate.
is that what happened today?
No, that didn't happen today, but it's happened before.
Always.
So-
You always.
Not always.
So what do you think? Now we've been up early. I'm tired, right? The flight is delayed. So where do you think I'm going now? And he's going. Like I can't stop him because he's hungry. He wants to eat something on the plane,
That's right.
right?
Do you want him to be hungry or happy?
You know those little leashes that they get for kids? Maybe you need to get one for Mike. You can attach it so your togetherness.
So my anxiety is through the roof, right? Because now they're going quick. When it comes to the fourth zone,
Yeah.
people go quickly,
Yeah.
right? As soon as they've got if he had maybe started, if he had got, we're sitting there 5-10 minutes already, or even longer, like 30 minutes before the time. Why do you have to go when they start boarding?
This is what you call a perpetual problem that we're going to talk about tomorrow afternoon. So come make sure you're here tomorrow
Yes,
afternoon.
come. You'll hear more of the story.
So Renee got a little bit anxious there, and but we were on. It was fine. It wasn't.
You had to do a repair attempt?
There was a bit of a repair attempt there, yes. So it was good though. It was good. It worked out. But I'm just telling you, there are things that we do have that, as much as you know, knowing is not the same as doing, and you make mistakes, and we keep doing it over and over again. And I tell her, "Don't worry, we're fine," right? And she worries anyway.
So we're going to share a scenario, when maybe your spouse or your child does something right, but they don't do it completely right.
No, that's not exactly right. So I came home from work, and I found a pile of dishes on the counter. I mean, a pile. It was long. And, I'm the chief breadwinner in the family. And all my wife has to do is stay at home, homeschool the children, look after the acreage, cook and clean the house, and have supper ready when I get home at 5, right? That should be pretty simple. So I get home at 5 see some head shaking. So I get home, and I see these pile of dishes. Oh, man. But you know what? I'm just going to go and do them. So an hour and a half later, I have the kitchen looking sparkling. My mom is here in the very back. She taught me how to polish, the stainless steel. I had to polish, and I had it you could see it sparkling in the sun. It would just shine. It was beautiful. I thought I had this, and amazing job. And what do you think I'm waiting for when I get home, when she gets home? That would be nice. A gold star, a little appreciation, pat on the back. Thank you, honey. But instead, I get what?
Open the door. I can't believe this day. I walk in and I see the kitchen. I'm like, I can't believe you can't finish what you started.
What are you talking about?
Look at the pot on the stove. Get real. You can never finish anything.
Honey, I just spent the last hour and a half cleaning all the pile of dishes that you left that you didn't finish before you left.
Really?
And there was no supper ready.
Yeah, because there was no groceries in the fridge.
What did you just
and
go?
then on the way home, I realized I almost ran out of fuel because you didn't fill up the car, and I had to
It's
go
your
back.
car.
It's my car.
Why
yes.
do you fill it up?
Well, you used it last. You fill it up.
Well, if you wouldn't have burnt the pot, I wouldn't have to leave it soaking for the last because it was so burnt with the potatoes in there. I was trying to scrape them off.
Really, you don't even know where the scrubby lives.
What's a scrubby?
Exactly.
you know what? I just can never please you. You're never happy about anything. You know what? I don't even want you to try.
Yeah, I can see that you don't try because you never finish anything you start.
You're impossible. And you slam the door. You slam it really hard so she hears you. Nobody's here done that, I'm sure. Just me.
So what was I focusing on?
The one thing. She didn't look at the 100 other things I
He
did.
had to do it my way, didn't he? Because my way is the right way, which means he has to do it exactly how I expect him to do it.
Yeah, I have to self-soothe a little bit because my heart rate is a little elevated now.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm calm now.
I'll tell you, okay.
You want to try a repair
So
attempt?
if I was a relationship master, or if you're married, a marriage master, what are the key things that I'm going to focus on in my repair, my redo?
What's the magic formula or the miracle formula?
Yeah. Do you remember? It starts out with I appreciate, I feel, when, and I need. Yes. And then what's my tone of voice going to be like?
Sweet.
We have this little form we use with our couples, and the guys usually check off sweetness. I need sweetness from my wife, which really is saying a gentle tone of voice. Yeah. So let me put that all into action. Now, he did do some things right, didn't he?
A lot of things.
So that's gonna be my focus, what he did right. Oh, honey, what a day. Wow. What happened to the pile of dishes? Did you do them?
Yes, I know you've probably been having a long day, so I thought I would help clean it so we can help you.
You have no idea how this makes me feel.
How do you feel?
I feel very loved.
Oh, okay.
I do.
You do?
Thank
You
you
feel loved?
so much.
Oh, okay. Good.
Oh, I know I need a clean kitchen to start making
I know.
supper.
You don't like to start with a dirty kitchen.
And it just makes me feel very heard and known by you. Because you went ahead and did the dishes knowing that if you're going to get supper, that it needs to be clean so I can actually cook. So thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Here, let me finish up the pot.
Oh, the pot. No, I was just letting it soak, and I couldn't find the little pot scrubber thing. If you could just show me where it is, I can't. So if you could show me,
It's under the sink, but no, I am going to do it.
You know what?
burnt it.
I started. I'm going to start but I'm going to finish what I started. Okay.
Okay.
I know it's important to you. So
Okay,
you go sit
okay.
down on the couch and you relax. Let me finish the pot, and then we'll start dinner together.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
So was that different? Appreciating, starting out with seeing what he did do. Sharing this time how what he did right made me feel. That is so important. So we did a little bit differently than Mike and Renee because this is a very common scenario too, where you didn't quite do it the right way. But allowing our family to be able to do things differently than how we may do it and appreciate it. Yeah, and then I expressed, he knew what my need was. What was my need? To have a clean kitchen in order to
Finish
make a meal.
what I start.
And he expressed what my need was. He knew, because we'd had a positive conversation about really finishing what we start. Because for Marlon, his temptation is to start something, and especially when he's preparing like for a curriculum or for a sermon or presentation, he'll have these piles on the go. This is the sermon pile, this is the curriculum pile, this is the to-do pile. And he intends to clean it up, but doesn't always clean it up. But now he knows at the end of the week what needs to be done. Everything put back where it needs to be, right? So finishing kind of the job, and he knows that's important to me, and that's how he loves me. Yeah.
What day are you coming home next week?
I've been away for a month, and we've been seeing each other on the weekends doing ministry, so.
I'll get my piles cleaned up.
Oh, you'll get your piles cleaned up. Thank you.
So, any input, any thoughts, questions before we close off this evening?
I think if you knew this style, like, we were not born Christians,
Yes.
so you come in, you know what? The Most High is cleaning me up. That's all I'm doing.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Amen. Thank you for saying that. And we'll share more things as we go along. I also didn't grow up, in a Christian household. I grew up in an orphanage, and I didn't hear a whole lot of these things. And what you said, you didn't hear love. I didn't hear that. And so when you don't hear it, and it doesn't mean you can't, and it wasn't modeled to you, it doesn't mean you can't learn it, right? And it's a change. It's a transformation. And that transformation, the person I am today is definitely not the person I grew up as. And so God has done a lot of work in my life. And he's doing a lot of work in your life too. So thank you very much, everyone.
And just those of us who've grown up in the church,
Yeah.
what happens, what's the condition of the church? Laodicean, which is lukewarmness. Is there a lot of lukewarmness in our relationships in the church?
Yeah.
That's just as dangerous, that indifference or that lukewarmness. That's actually more dangerous, because what does God want to say? He wants to spit or spew or vomit it out of his mouth. Because why? Because we're unaware, we're wretched, naked, blind, we can't see. So a lot of this weekend is that awareness. What are these relationship poisons that are in the negative communication styles that we're doing to harm the people that we love? Yeah. And we employ these strategies to get what we want, but we're actually damaging. So we're a whole new way of learning to communicate.
So, no questions, takeaways, anything big for you that you say, that was a big one for me tonight? Any thoughts? Yeah, go ahead. Vera?
I'm bringing the mic here so we can hear you a little better.
Say Wendell comes and he says something to me, or either way, I could be like, but what about me?
Yeah.
And so having the capacity to be able to hear and see the other person out of love, and it being returned has to be developed if you come from like different places from the start, right?
Totally.
That takes a while.
100%. Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. When we talk about communication, if you're talking, you might be communicating, but you're using a totally different language. You're like, I'm communicating. Yeah, but the other person doesn't really understand what you're saying at all, because they have to come.
Wounds, right?
Yes.
Most of us don't know our wounds.
That's right.
Until we get married.
Yeah.
And then they're triggered, right?
That's right. Yeah, we do. And thank you for saying that. And those wounds, when you're wounded, you're going to protect your wound. Always. Yeah. You're going to develop it. Yeah. And we protect it in different ways. Some of us overcompensate. So we've been wounded. There was a scenario with one situation where the father, his father left when he was a little boy, so he wasn't home. But he really looked up to his father. His father was like a leader in the community and everything, but he just wasn't ever home. So he grew up saying, I'm going to be home. I'm going to have that. And that's a wonderful expression of, I'm going to do it better than my father. But that wound wasn't really healed. You don't really heal that by saying, I'm going to do it better. In fact, he got so, I'm going to do it better, that if anyone challenged his better, he's very protective, right? And then very defensive. And whoever's challenging his better is wrong, right? You know what I'm saying? Because he has to be right, because he's better than his father. So,
That is me.
okay, yeah. So wounds can be dealt with in so many different ways. It seems like a positive way of dealing with a wound, but it's still a wound. And it really isn't a good way of dealing with it, right? So how can we deal with our wounds and heal so that they're healed? you know? And we're going to talk about that tomorrow morning. We're starting at 9:30. So go ahead.
Yeah, mine is more of a question. How long did it take you to recognize to be a master or a disaster?
Oh,
For
man.
both of you as couples, because you have been teaching this. For some of us, this is something that we are learning. It's
Yes.
a work in progress.
Yes.
But how long did it take
Every day.
all of you to
Every day. You have
master
to, I mean, the Apostle Paul says, I die daily. So you're waking up. The biggest issue is pride. The biggest issue is pride. Pride comes up every single time. I do it right, you do it wrong, right? And it's like, no, you don't. It's like dying to self and saying, can I learn this differently? If you're teachable, you're fixable. But if you stop being teachable, you can't do anything with that person. It's just it. But when you're teachable, you're fixable. It's to have that humble position to say, hey, I don't know it all, and I'm going to make a mistake today. I'm just going to. And so to learn that, and you're on a journey, and it's baby steps, you know. So as you do it, taking that position of being a learner and saying, I'm going to learn this, and I'm not going to obsess about when I get it wrong. I'm just going to say
To
sorry.
answer your question about a timeline, how long does this take? So in our coaching practice, we meet with couples weekly. And on average, working through everything, and if they're doing the work in their relationship, within 3 months, they become marriage masters. So it's not a long period of time. You know, or if you're in a relationship, might be parent-child, or maybe you're an adult with your mother or your father, and the relationship isn't great, or maybe a friendship. It takes not that long to put it into practice, because really what redos are, the more you practice, it forges a new neural pathway in your brain. Right now, there's this pathway of criticizing, becoming defensive, and the 4 horsemen that John Gottman talks about in this book, 7 Principles for Making Marriage Work, or Relationship Work. And we're forging this pathway of criticism, defensiveness, contempt, and stonewalling, which is really withdrawing. So now you're learning what you do and what's causing what you do. And now you're starting to do redos in your relationship. So it's becoming self-aware of who I am. And it was beautiful, your conversation, the two of you. It's about owning your 100% responsibility. So if each of you are coming together, you're owning your 100% responsibility in the interaction that caused the hurt and the pain. Is there going to be much conflict, or is repair going to happen? Repair will happen because I'm coming to Marlon, for example. Maybe I feel like I'm only 10% responsible in this interaction, but maybe I'm causing 90% of his pain. My 10% is causing 90% of his pain. So I'm owning up to my 100% and how it's impacting him. But he's also choosing to rewrite his story through that interaction. He's owning his, might be 90%. He might think he's 90% if he does, but he's owning his percentage, which is, we're saying 100%. And then when he's doing that, I'm also rewriting my story of the interaction from negative to positive.
And neuroscience actually says if we practice every day rewiring our minds, within 63 days we can rewire our brain. So 21 days you can create a habit. So 3 cycles of 21 are actually 63 days, which actually helps us. We can reprogram our mind and create new habits and behaviors and these communication styles. So ideally 63 days if you're practicing diligently. For us, we're kind of a slow learner, so it took us a year to repair our relationship and to become marriage masters.
However, the reason why it took us a year, Mike talked about how pride is usually what causes relationships to be stuck. Well, I went from pride into rebellion. And I won't repair the relationship. I won't. And tomorrow we're going to share, our story At 24 years of marriage, I was done. I won't do this anymore. I am so done.
Yeah, she was very rebellious.
But my husband did everything and beyond what we're sharing this weekend to win my heart back. And so these principles work. And if you can break that rebellion, you can come back into the relationship and restore. So, to be honest, probably 10% of the couples that we coach all throughout the year choose to walk in rebellion and not restore. So some people say that's a really good percentage. Only 10% don't choose to restore. For me, that 10% hurts my heart as a coach because I know they can do it. I know they can do it, but they choose not to. And I was one of those people that chose not to. But by God's grace, I chose to come out of my rebellion.
Amen. Anybody else have anything else they want to share before we end?
Also, Pastor, I wanted to say that, like Doreen mentioned, the more we practice repair attempts, the better we become at them, right? And yeah, at first it does feel a bit clunky, right? But like Mark was saying, we still do repair attempts and redos today. And we have 2 daughters, like I said, a 25-year-old and a 29-year-old, and we're still able to do, and we're still repairing with them today, right? So, I mean, the last repair we did was just in February, before our daughter, left for her travels. So,
So what happens is you become an agent of change within your own family. But when you look back and you say, wow, I'm a different person, you don't know healthy until you're healthy. And so you look healthy compared to what you were, but then you see someone who's healthier and you want that too. So you just keep climbing, right? Jesus wants us to keep climbing. We're on a path to growth every day, and it's eternal. So you don't want to give up. And it's wonderful. It's encouraging. It's encouraging because people who know you well will look at you and say, wow, you're not the same person you used to be. And that's a beautiful thing. But you also don't want to stay still. You don't want to plateau. You want to keep growing. That's my encouragement.
So before we end, we would like to give this book to the couple that has been married for the least amount of years.
Yeah.
So you're the newlyweds.
If there's a newlywed, and even if there's one of you within the couple, that's fine too. Or the newest.
Yeah,
okay?
the newest.
Say, anyone within the last 3 years? 3 years? 5 years? What's that? Really? Terry? Terry, how long? 10. Yeah?
Oh.
Anyone less than 10?
Anyone less than Terry?
No?
Oh,
There you
good.
go. Congratulations there. Enjoy the book. Yeah, it's a good book. The 7 Principles for Making Marriage Work. It works. Just read it and enjoy it. Take a moment to pray with someone next to you or in a group, and then we'll just close off, okay?